Some days, just being feels unbearably heavy. You wake up, and the world feels louder than usual. The colors seem too bright, the sounds too sharp, and every small task feels like moving a mountain. It's as if life itself has turned into something too heavy to carry, and all you want is to disappear. Even for a moment. You look around, and everything keeps moving, people rushing to work, notifications piling up, obligations waiting for you before you've even had time to breathe. And there you are barely holding on. Not because you want to end your life, but because existing, simply existing, has become exhausting. It's a quiet kind of pain. The kind that doesn't always show on the surface. You may smile, laugh, even carry on your day like everything is fine, but inside, there's this persistent weight, a pressure that never seems to leave. It sits in your chest, your mind, your bones. A constant reminder that being alive is not always easy. And here's the thing, you are not alone in feeling this way. Even if it seems like nobody else could possibly understand, there are countless people who have felt this same heaviness. You are not weak for feeling it. You are human. Today, we are going to explore this feeling, the desire to not exist, the quiet longing to escape, and why it happens. We'll talk about what it really means, why it doesn't define you, and the small steps that can help lighten the load, even just a little. Because even when life feels impossibly heavy, your existence matters. So take a deep breath, let yourself be present here for a moment. And know that it's okay to feel this weight. It doesn't have to define you. Let's begin. Understanding the feeling. To understand the desire to not exist, we first need to recognize what it really is, and what it is not. It is not the same as wanting to end your life. It is not about giving up entirely. It is something subtler, something quieter. It is the feeling of exhaustion from living, the quiet wish to step away, to pause, to disappear from the constant noise of the world. Imagine carrying an invisible weight. Each morning, it sits on your chest before you even open your eyes. Each task, each interaction, each expectation adds a small stone. Over time, the weight grows heavier, until simply existing feels like a monumental effort. You may smile. You may go through the motions. But inside, a part of you wishes you could just stop. Not because you hate life, but because life feels too heavy to carry right now. This feeling can be confusing. You may wonder, why do I feel this way? What's wrong with me? And the truth is, there's nothing inherently wrong. Many people experience this at some point in their lives. Stress, trauma, isolation, relentless pressure, and emotional exhaustion can all lead to this sensation. It is a human response to overwhelming circumstances. It is your mind and body saying, I need relief. I need space. I need a moment to breathe. Sometimes, it manifests as emptiness. A numbness that makes even small joys feel distant. Sometimes, it's anxiety that makes every choice feel exhausting. Sometimes, it's a quiet, persistent longing to disappear, to not be noticed, to escape the responsibilities, the expectations, and even the weight of your own thoughts. It's important to understand that feeling this way does not make you weak. It does not make you broken. It does not mean you are a failure. It simply means that life, in that moment, feels heavier than you can carry alone. And acknowledging that feeling, naming it, is the first step toward understanding it, and eventually, finding relief. Why it happens. Now that we've begun to understand the feeling itself, the question naturally arises, why does it happen? Why do some days, some weeks, or even longer stretches of time feel so unbearably heavy that the thought of simply not existing seems tempting? The truth is, there is no single answer. It can happen for many reasons, sometimes obvious, sometimes hidden deep beneath the surface. One major factor is stress, the constant push and pull of life's demands. Work, school, family, responsibilities, they pile up, one on top of the other, until your mind and body feel like they are carrying a weight too heavy to bear. Another reason is isolation. Humans are social creatures. Connection, understanding, and empathy are not just luxuries, they are necessities. When you feel alone, unseen, or unheard, it can amplify this desire to withdraw from the world entirely. The more disconnected you feel, the heavier the burden becomes, and the more the idea of disappearing can seem comforting. Trauma, whether recent or long buried, can also play a role. Past experiences of loss, neglect, abuse, or disappointment can leave emotional scars that weigh heavily on the mind. Even if you have learned to function, to smile, to go through your daily life, those unprocessed wounds can create a persistent sense of heaviness, a desire to escape the constant reminder of pain. Sometimes, it's not an external event at all, but an internal one. Anxiety, depression, or emotional exhaustion can silently drain your energy, making even ordinary tasks feel impossible. The world can feel overwhelming, decisions paralyzing, and the weight of your own thoughts unbearable. In these moments, wishing to not exist is not about wanting an end, it is about longing for relief, a pause from the pressure, a chance to breathe. It's also important to remember that this feeling is not a sign of weakness or failure. It is your mind and body signaling that something needs attention, that rest, care, or understanding is required. Just like your body aches when you overexert yourself physically, your mind can ache when it is overwhelmed emotionally. And this ache can manifest as a longing to disappear, to escape the weight of existence itself. Understanding why it happens is not about finding a single cause or blaming yourself. It is about recognizing the patterns, noticing the triggers, and acknowledging that the heaviness is real, and that it deserves attention, compassion, and care. Because the first step toward relief is understanding, and understanding begins with noticing. The silence of struggle. Even when life feels impossibly heavy, most people carry this weight in silence. They mask it, hide it, and push it down, afraid of what others might think, or simply because they don't want to burden anyone. This is what I call the silence of struggle. You see, many of us learn early on that emotions are supposed to be hidden. That showing weakness is unacceptable. That we must always appear strong, capable, and unshakable. So, when the heaviness hits, when the desire to just not exist creeps in, we tuck it away, deep inside, behind a smile, behind a busy schedule, behind the mask of normalcy. And yet, inside, the struggle is real. Every small task feels monumental. Every interaction can feel exhausting. Even simple pleasures may seem distant, almost unreachable. The mind becomes a battlefield, part of you screaming for relief, part of you fearing judgment, and part of you questioning your own worth. This silence is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it often takes incredible strength to keep going when every fiber of your being is screaming for a pause. But the danger is that silence can amplify the heaviness. Unspoken feelings grow in darkness, becoming heavier and harder to carry alone. And sometimes, the more you hide it, the more isolated you feel, and the more tempting the thought of disappearing becomes. It's important to recognize that you are not alone in this silence. Countless people struggle quietly every day, hiding behind appearances while battling the weight of their own thoughts and emotions. And just because someone appears to be fine on the outside, it doesn't mean they are not fighting an internal battle. Acknowledging the silence is the first step toward breaking it. Speaking about your feelings, even to just one trusted person, can begin to lift a small part of the weight. You don't have to share everything at once. You don't have to fix everything immediately. Simply noticing the struggle, and allowing yourself to admit it exists, is a powerful act of courage. So if you are carrying this weight in silence, know this: your feelings are valid. Your struggle is real. And reaching out, even just a little, is not weakness. It is the beginning of finding relief, understanding, and a way forward. You are not alone. Coping and small steps. Even when life feels unbearably heavy, there are ways to cope. Small, gentle steps that can make the weight feel a little lighter. The key is not to try to fix everything at once. Relief doesn't happen all at once, it happens slowly, quietly, moment by moment. The first step is simple: breathe. Really breathe. Inhale slowly, hold it for a moment, and exhale. Repeat this several times. It may feel too simple, almost meaningless, but our bodies carry stress in ways we cannot always see. Deep, intentional breathing tells your mind and body that it is safe. That it is allowed to relax, even just a little. Next, allow yourself to express what you're feeling. This doesn't have to mean talking to someone right away. It can be writing in a journal, sketching, or even speaking out loud to yourself in a private space. Put words to the heaviness, the confusion, the exhaustion. Naming your feelings is a powerful act. It brings them out of the darkness and into the light, where they are easier to understand. Another step is to reach out, but start small. You don't have to tell the whole story all at once. Simply sharing a small part of what you feel with someone you trust, a friend, family member, or even a professional, can lift a tiny part of the burden. Connection, even brief or imperfect, reminds us that we are not alone. That someone sees us, even in our silence. Movement can also help. A short walk, stretching, or any form of gentle physical activity can release tension that builds in your body when your mind is overwhelmed. You don't have to run a marathon or push yourself to extremes. Even small motions, feeling the ground beneath your feet, the air on your skin, help anchor you in the present moment. Finally, be patient with yourself. Progress doesn't happen in a straight line. Some days will feel lighter and others heavier. That's okay. Celebrate the small victories, a deep breath, a kind word to yourself, reaching out to someone. These tiny steps add up over time. They are proof that even in the heaviness, you are moving forward. Remember, coping is not about eliminating the weight entirely. It's about learning to carry it more gently, to give yourself moments of relief, and to honor the fact that you are doing your best, even when it doesn't feel like enough. Small steps, taken consistently, can make the unbearable feel a little lighter. Finding light in darkness. Even when life feels unbearably heavy, even when the weight of existing seems impossible, there is still light to be found. It may be faint. It may be small. But it is there. And sometimes, noticing even the tiniest spark can make the darkness a little more bearable. Light can come in many forms. It can be a gentle smile from someone who sees you, a comforting word, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, or the quiet sound of wind through the trees. These small moments may seem insignificant at first, but they remind us that even in the heaviness, there are points of beauty, connection, and relief. It is also the light within yourself that matters most. Even when your mind feels clouded and your heart heavy, there is a part of you that still seeks hope. That part of you is resilient. That part of you is strong. And even if you cannot see it clearly right now, it is there, quietly persisting, waiting to be noticed and nurtured. Finding light in darkness does not mean that the darkness disappears completely. It does not mean that the weight instantly lifts. It simply means that we learn to notice the moments of relief, the small sparks of hope, and allow them to guide us, one step at a time. Sometimes, it is enough to see a single ray of sunlight in a cloudy sky. Sometimes, it is enough to hear a comforting voice, to write down a thought, or to take a deep, grounding breath. It is also important to remember that light often exists in contrast to darkness. Without the weight, we may not recognize the moments of relief. Without struggle, we may not notice the beauty in small victories, in quiet joys, in moments of stillness. The heaviness does not define you, but it can help you recognize the value of light, however small or fleeting it may seem. So today, allow yourself to seek even the smallest light. It could be a moment of calm, a kind word, a gentle gesture, or simply the awareness that you are still here, still breathing, still persisting. Each of these moments is proof that even in the weight, even in the struggle, you are capable of finding peace, hope, and relief. At this point, it's important to remind yourself of something crucial: your feelings are valid. The heaviness you carry, the moments when life feels too much, the desire to disappear, all of it is real. And it matters. Too often, we dismiss our own pain. We tell ourselves, it's not that bad, or others have it worse. But comparing your experience to anyone else's doesn't diminish it. Your emotions are yours, unique, personal, and worthy of attention. Feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, or disconnected does not make you weak. It makes you human. Encouragement begins with recognition. Recognizing that the struggle exists, that the desire to not exist is a signal that your mind and body need care, is the first step. You are not failing by feeling this way. You are not broken by experiencing this heaviness. You are responding to the immense weight of life with the only tools you have, and that is okay. Validation also comes from speaking kindly to yourself. In moments when you feel small, lost, or invisible, try to remind yourself, it's okay to feel this way. I am allowed to take a break. I am not alone. These words may feel simple, even strange at first. But over time, they help you acknowledge your emotions without judgment, without guilt, without shame. And remember, asking for help is not weakness. Seeking support from someone you trust, a friend, family member, or professional, is an act of courage. It is proof that you value yourself enough to reach for relief. Even small steps, like sending a message, making a phone call, or speaking honestly with someone for a few minutes, can begin to lift the weight you carry. You may not feel better immediately. That's okay. Healing is rarely linear. There will be days that feel heavier, moments when the darkness feels overwhelming. But each time you honor your feelings, each time you remind yourself that your experience is valid, each time you reach out, you are moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like it. So let yourself feel what you feel. Speak to yourself with kindness. Seek help when you can. And most importantly, remember this: you matter. Your existence matters. Even when the world feels too heavy, even when the weight seems unbearable, your presence is meaningful. Your feelings are important. And you deserve care, compassion, and hope. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to remember one thing above all else: you are not alone. Even in the moments when life feels unbearably heavy, even when you feel unseen, unheard, or invisible, there are people who care, who want to help, and who can listen without judgment. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to reach out. It is okay to say, "I'm struggling." There is no shame in seeking support. In fact, it is one of the bravest things you can do. Whether it's a trusted friend, a family member, a therapist, or a counselor, reaching out can be the first step toward relief, toward understanding, and toward hope. So, as you move forward from this moment, take with you the knowledge that it is okay to struggle. It is okay to feel heavy. It is okay to pause, to breathe, to seek help. You are not alone. You are seen. You are valued. And there is hope, even in the moments when hope feels distant. Thank you for taking this time for yourself today. Take care of yourself, be gentle with your heart, and remember, you matter more than you may ever know.